name is Miley. I'm the drummer of Rival Sons. Writing this record, Head Down, was definitely the quintessential Rival Sons experience, with the band name included, because there was a lot of battling, a lot of brotherly love, if you will, going on, putting these songs together. And as most people know, we do this in a very short period of time. We did it in 21 days. And so we basically recorded, mixed, wrote the album in about 22 days, something like that, 20 days, I don't know, to be exact. But it forces us to be creative very quickly, makes the music honest, and captures an element of truth where we are in the moment. We used a lot of first takes, second takes, third takes. We didn't overplay any of the songs. So what you get is like a very immediate artistic response to a particular song. And sometimes this causes some friction, sometimes it causes hugs, sometimes it causes a very hungry appetite to go to dinner. To come up with the drum parts, specifically drum parts, there'll be a riff, somebody will come up with a riff, Scott will come up with a riff, and I mean, a riff, really, a good riff will write itself. Somebody will have a melodic idea, and we collectively will decide on a rhythmic approach, you know? So with the rhythmic approach, the riff will dictate like exactly what I'm playing, what beats, what drum is gonna fall on what beat, you know. My main thing is approach, the energy and the emotion, like what the song is saying. I like to capture the emotion of the song rhythmically as much as possible. That particular song on You Want To, we were listening to a group called the Monks, and that morning on the drive to the studio, and we were like, yeah, let's do a song where the song isn't, the drums aren't played on a cymbal, it's played on the toms. So really that's the whole song is real tribal, and I think I had a few too many cups of coffee maybe that morning. It was just two chords going back and forth, and I wasn't just gonna play a basic beat behind that. So, and I think Dave Cobb was like, let's let this thing explode out of the gates. I wanted to make like a sound of a tornado. What would a tornado sound like? And that's kind of how I came up with the intro for You Want To. I love Until the Sun Comes. There's something about that song, from top to bottom, from Jay's vocal line to Scott's riffs to the drum and bass groove, the energy we captured. I'm really proud of how that song went down. It was for me the most immediate song, where we walked away and I went, yeah, that one's a hit, you know. It's a booty shaker, you know. Well, in terms of a time frame, recording this album was pretty much exactly the same as Pressure and Time, but Head Down, I think there's a different theme on Head Down. I mean, we did it the exact same way, really. Same producer. We had all the same elements that we've had on all our previous recordings. So there's a lot of similarities, but the band was a year older in terms of touring and working our butts off. So I think we came in with that nose to the grind mentality that we had embedded, you know? And to me, Head Down is nose to the grind. It's like, keep, you know, whatever you do, keep going forward, you know? Don't think, we don't have time to think about the past or the future. All we have time for is the present moment. And And to me, that's what this album signifies. We go into the studio with nothing pre-written. So Scott and Jay will have a couple ideas here and there. They don't unveil it until we actually get in there. So, I mean, on Pressure and Time, there's a couple of riffs Scott and I had worked out, which ended up sounding nothing like what we had worked out when we ended up going to the studio. So basically, the other dangerous element of our music is we're going in, giving ourselves 3 weeks to make a full-length record. Nothing is written. No ideas are shared. We walk in, put on our instruments, look at each other and go, what do you got? And typically, each day is different. At every corner, at every turn of our music, you'll find that word danger. Basically, in the Rival Sons, rhythmically, we have 4 different tempos at every moment and in every song. So as the drummer, I feel like Robin is the glue, rhythmically. Because my goal, I think drums themselves already imply rhythm. So what I'm trying to capture is emotion and energy. Is the song a dirgy, slow, tired, sad feeling? I'm not gonna walk in and go, oh, this is a sad song, so I'm gonna play behind the beat. I'm trying to really kind of capture what the riff is saying and what Jay is saying. And Robin ends up being the glue of this whole rhythmic mess, this cacophony of rhythm that we have, which I think is beautiful, you know? Because everything is so gridded these days. We have Pro Tools, we have all these Logic, all these recording programs that will put your beat. If you play early, the computer will move it. If you're late, it'll move it. And so with the Rival Sons, you have, you know, if this is the main beat, you have like I'm landing there, Robin's landing there, Scott's landing there, Jay's like here, you know. So we have all these rhythms going on, and it's crazy loose, but it's fun as hell. Where we have moments on stage where we know we're gonna at least try for a certain thing, and every night it ends up being different. Some nights we don't know that Jay's gonna lay so far back on the second verse of Soul, you know, we all are forced to lean back. We've played together enough to where we can sense and feel the rhythmic tension. I'm trying to capture emotion, you know. I'm not the drummer. You can hire me and I will play to a click and lay down a beat and give it feeling, and but the thing I try to do with music is capture emotion, and so you're gonna you're not in the same mood every day. Moods vary, your emotions vary. So to me, rhythm varies, you know, because rhythm, I think viscerally speaking, is an emotional thing. So that's my job, is to capture the emotion, to lasso the feeling of the song. My first instinct in deciphering between studio and the stage is like they're vastly different. But I think instinctually, the more we play together, the more we can read that. But in making Head Down, as much as we know each other rhythmically and melodically and tonally, harmonically, it felt like a brand new band. Like it was such a fresh experience. It was pushing a freight train with one hand, you know. it was a struggle to, it was like a woman giving birth to a really big baby, you know? That's what making Head Down was like. Like each day we would have different contractions to push this song out, you know, and 13 songs later the baby was born, you know? You go into the studio, sometimes people take 4 months to get a snare drum sound, you know? We got our drum sound with Vance Powell in about an hour, I think. I started tuning the drums. There was a Gretsch drum set already set up in there, an old Gretsch drum set, and I loved the way it sounded, and I was like, let me just do the album on this. And then Dave Cobb was like, no, let's use your drums, let's try to make your drums sound like this kit. And so I went in there and I tuned it for about 25 minutes, and Vance Powell already had the mics, you know, set up, so he came in there and positioned stuff, and I played a little bit, and we had our drum sound. It was like so fast. Scott plugged in, Robin plugged in direct. I mean, we did it so old school. I know for like the drum sound, we used about 3 or 4 mics, and I had an overhead mic, a really expensive old vintage overhead mic. I think it's a U47 or a U48 or something, and it was going through a Sun Studios preamp that we're using, I guess, as sort of a compressor or something. I am not the studio nerd by any means. I know that what comes out sounds creamy and buttery and with a little bit of honey dripped into it, because I think my drums sound really good. This is my favorite drum sound. I loved Pressure in Time. Up to the point of Pressure in Time, that was my favorite drum sound that I had ever gotten. And Head Down, all the instruments. This album sparkles. It comes out of the speakers differently than anything we've done. First day we did Manifest Destiny 2. We started with that. And we went in, we got sounds. So the whole first half of the day was getting everybody's sounds, getting everybody plugged in, and then that night we started working on that. And don't think we got it. We came in the next morning and got it like first or second take. That was probably the one song in the album we got to sleep on and do the next day.